Well, it was 11 hits and 4 runs, but defensively, that's why we talk about the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, the two best defenses in baseball. Christian Walker testing Adolis Garcia's arm, and he lost terribly. I don't think it was running through a stop sign. If you watch the third base coach closely, he's waving him home, but he's also waving the runner to second. And I think that what needs to be said is that Walker flashes at the coach, but then he's got to hustle home because he thinks he's being given the sign to go. And by the time the third base coach realizes Walker's running past him, he tries to hold him up, but it was too late. At that point, it's kind of a no man's land, and you got to go anyway. So that was just one of many plays. It wasn't decided by that one throw at home. It wasn't decided by the poor umpiring in the ninth inning. It was really decided by the Rangers bullpen because Max Scherzer lasted 3 innings, came out. He was hit in the elbow with a ball back to the mound. And a great play by Young to throw out the base runner. And then Gray, Spores, Chapman, and Leclerc finished it off. And I thought that they did an exceptional job finishing the last 6 outs and only allowing 1 run, and that was by Chapman in the 8th inning. So, I mean, listen, it's pitching and defense that wins you championships, but it's also good base running. It's also understanding what you do with the ball when it's hit to you. And, some of these plays that are being made, hopefully young kids, understand that, making the first out at third or the third out at third or the first or the third out at home is poor base running. Because if you're at second base or third base with 2 outs, a pass ball can get you in from third. A base hit can score you from second. There's no need to make those decisions, especially in a game like this.
I feel bad for the Arizona Diamondbacks because just like game 1, I thought they played real well. I mean, you got this Fott kid coming out there giving you probably 3 outs more than what was on the script. And, like you're saying with defense, man, old man Evan Longoria was making picks on the hot corner at third base all day long. But just, that one little slip-up inning that put 3 runs on the board was the difference for the Texas Rangers to be on top. But I thought, Dibs, both teams, especially pitching-wise, John Gray went out there and did a hell of a job for 3 innings and was a huge bridge. But Scherzer with the start, I know he got hurt, but surprised for him to finish 3 innings. I thought that was more than what was expected from Bochy and the Rangers. I thought from Fott to go the distance, even though I feel for the kid, he got the loss. And again, a great outing for him. I would like to talk to you about the strike zone before we move off this game. But still, I feel like the Diamondbacks are right there. And this is just baseball, Susan. 1 knock here, 1 knock there can put runs on the board. And your team can go cold, or you can't piece together hits in an inning to get runs. I thought Fott had an even better day than what the umpires allowed. I'm sorry, man. There are a couple of pitches that were not on the black, on the plate, that got called balls for, I want to say it was Jung got a walk he shouldn't have got, and Garcia got a walk he shouldn't have got. But even then, in the 9th inning, there was more controversy with that strike zone. I thought it is what it is. Both teams got to deal with it, but that strike zone was moving all over the place last night.
It was, and it was poorly umpired. And knowing that, you got to be swinging anything close.
Good point.
I mean, by the time you get to the 25th, 26th, 27th out, you can't be questioning the calls at that point. Now you're down 3-1. You got to try to manufacture a couple of runs just to stay in the game. As far as Fott, the home run he gave up to Seager was a changeup in his face. That ball should be crushed. The kid gave up 22 home runs in 96 innings pitched in the regular season, almost a 6 ERA. You're really playing with fire when you have this rookie in the game. And I think that, he went 5 1/3, only gave up 3 runs. That's enough to win a ball game.
Yeah.
If you give up 3 runs and you're out there with a rookie and then the bullpen doesn't give up any runs, you've got to be able to manufacture some runs. That's been an issue for the D-backs all year. I think that they need to use their team speed and sometimes go for bunts. Sometimes bunt for a base hit. You've got when you look at some of these guys, whether it's Alex Smith or whether it's Corbin Carroll, you've got guys that have exceptional speed. And those are the kind of guys – we got to get those guys on base. And, or excuse me, Alec Thomas. I apologize. So when you look at this lineup and the way it's built, Longoria 0 for 2 with a strikeout. He's in there for defense. He's hitting 156, but I could throw it over to the other side. Marcus Simeon's not hitting either.
No.
He did come up with a hit last night, scored a run. It was huge, but he's hitting a $197 for the entire postseason. He's not on his game. So when guys are not on their game, it's up to the guys around them. And Perdomo, the guy around Longoria, he did a great job. That guy scores or gets the hit that drives in Rivera. That's the only thing. The top of the order, you got 0 for 3 Carroll. You got Marte was 1 for 4. Moreno's 0 for 4. That's where a lot of your damage was done. Walker, obviously, with the double, gets thrown out at the plate. Pham was 2 for 4. He's doing his job. So it's really some of these other guys have to pick up the slack. You could look at the Rangers. They've got some guys struggling. But Evan Carter, guy's 2 for 3. He's 21 years old. He's hitting .333 in the postseason. So you're lucky when you look at some of these guys that are. I've told you this before. You have to look at the guys around the stars, and those are usually the guys that are going to win you games. Lowe had a hit last night and a run scored in a huge situation. Guy hasn't been hitting. Now he just got his batting average over 200, but it was a timely hit and double for him. So those are the kind of things that when you least expect a guy at the bottom of the order or a guy that's hitting in the 2-hole or the 7-hole that comes through with big hits, that's when you want to be on the team. And then the thing with Texas, you're going back to Texas. You could lose the next 2 games. You're only down a game, and you get to go home for 6 and 7. So right now, the Rangers are in the driver's seat because the Diamondbacks couldn't get things going last night.
Game 4, I think nowadays the most interesting game in a 7-game series in Major League Baseball because typically these teams do not have a legitimate 4th starter. That is definitely the case here for Arizona and Texas. You got Mr. Mantiply, Joe Mantiply, usually coming out of the bullpen, usually a bridge guy. Now he's going to have to start for the Diamondbacks, but it's no different for the Rangers. Oh, Yankee fans, look who's starting for the Rangers. Andrew Heaney getting the start in the World Series for the Texas Rangers.
Another cast off.
You never know, man. This guy could go out there and give you 5 good ones, but it looks like it's an all-hands-on-deck bullpen day, and everything that you just said about the Rangers puts so much pressure on the Diamondbacks to get this one. More than really Game 5, this one, seriously important because it's going to be tough to win 3 straight against the Rangers. So we'll see how they piece together all their pitching in 9 innings tonight.
If you look at Bochy, how he's used Heaney almost as an opener like Tampa Bay against Seattle at the end of the season, 4 1/3 pulls him. I think they get the win. Against Baltimore, 3 2/3, gives up a couple of hits and a run. He was in a situation where, you know what, let's get him out of the game. They end up winning that game 3-2. Against Houston, an inning out of relief. So he's used him sparingly. Heaney is the type of guy, if you could get through the lineup the first time unscathed, that's a bonus. Let's send him out there for the 4th. He gets into trouble. I start warming guys up from the 4th inning on. I mean, it's the same thing with Scherzer. I thought Scherzer was only going to go maybe 1 or 2 more innings, and then Bochy was going to pull him anyway. So I think, like I said the other day, that your 8 guys out of the bullpen are being used more like the 4th or 5th starter in a rotation. Those are the innings that are being gobbled up right now, the bullpen guys, because that's baseball. Baseball's not worried about the 4th guy or the 5th guy, but like you said, Heaney is now getting called on to be the bridge to get you back to Eovaldi and Jordan Montgomery to seal this deal. And if he can do his job tonight, we could bring Eovaldi back, we could bring Montgomery back, and try to seal this deal and win a championship. So I like where the Rangers are right now, but don't put anything by Mantiply. This guy, nobody expects him to go 4 or 5 innings. Don't expect him to go 4 or 5 innings because that's when guys pitch their best when they feel like, okay, I might have to go, 9 hitters in, and I'm going to get pulled anyway, so I'll give you a little bit extra for those first 3 innings.
It is a 7 o'clock pregame tonight, right after the Coach Moore live show starting at 6 o'clock, and then the first pitch for game number 4 will be 8:03. Some people wrote the radio station last night and said, what the hell are you doing playing Lions-Raiders over this World Series game? And unfortunately, Thank you, Dibs. Dibs is getting it. Dibs knows we got contracts, man, we got to adhere to. But I was expecting that to be a 3.5-hour baseball game. Ended up being 2.5 hours. That game was really cooking, man. And it's something to say about the Manfred ball that we are in right now that is speeding up these ball games a lot more than what we're used to.
Well, the one thing, the big bases and the pitch clock and all the other stuff was supposed to give us more action. I mean, good pitching and defense kept you from more action. 11 hits and 4 runs. Yep. One of the biggest hits was the Seager home run, which to me, that guy is money. He's worth every dime you paid for him. I think he's third all-time now shortstops in postseason home runs. Blows my mind for a guy that is like Trey Turner size. I mean, he and Trey Turner kind of remind me of each other. Just one's righty and one's lefty at the plate.
Yeah.
Great fielders, quiet guys. They just it's great ambassadors to baseball, man. I mean, the Rangers have so many good guys on their team. The D-backs have so many good guys on their team. There's not like one guy you're pointing to and going, man, that guy's kind of a jerk, you know? And yeah, Tommy Pham says some things, but I think that's from the heart. I think he just wants to win. He wants to play hard.
Arizona loves him.
Yeah, Arizona loves him. He's contributed, and he's contributed everywhere he's gone. I mean, that's the whole thing. When you look at guys that come into your locker room, they're not looking to be leaders. They're just looking to be a part of something that's positive. And I think that when he went to the Mets, it wasn't positive to him. And then he gets to Arizona, and from Lovello all the way down, these guys are nothing but guys. We can't win without positivity. If we for a second start thinking that we're better than we really are, we're going to get cooked. And I think that's why they're in the postseason still. That's why Pham and his team are 3 wins away from winning a world championship, where the Mets and the Yankees and the Dodgers and Phillies, all these other teams are sitting home watching them on TV. You got to get on a good run in the postseason. But you got to get to the postseason.
We do have some NFL to talk about today. In a little bit less than an hour, the trade deadline will be over in the National Football League, and we do have some movement. But before we get to that, James Harden got traded. Whoa!
Dude,
who could have saw this coming?
Dude, how do we keep giving this guy everything he wants?
I don't know. Buyer beware, Clippers. Do you have the legs comment? I know Kurt was playing some Legler sound. I think we've been playing on SportsCenter, too, on ESPN Radio all day. Just to give you the details of the trade, James Harden from the 76ers, along with Mr. P.J. Tucker, who I always loved during the playoffs. He always roughs somebody up during the playoffs. I think that's a decent get. I would rather have P.J. Tucker, honestly, than James Harden. And then Philippe Petrusev is going. They're all going to the Clippers. The 76ers will receive Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, Kenyon Martin Jr., and a 2028 unprotected first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and a 2029 pick swap from the Clippers. I think the 76ers beyond won this deal. I don't know what's more than winning this deal, but they did it. I mean, to get rid of that cancer in the locker room, to dump all the money you were supposed to pay him, and then to, I would say, get better with your roster for now and for the future with all those picks. I'll say A+ for the 76ers today in their deal.
I agree with that, but I also, listen, Ben Simmons didn't want to play for them. They gave him what he wanted, bringing in Harden.
Yep.
Harden, this is like the 4th team where he's gotten his way of getting out of town.
It's the NBA.
He opted in June to $35.5 million.
Of course.
Okay, dude, don't want to play? I'm not going to pay you. I'll void your contract. What? I mean, my problem is that's the problem with the NBA right there in a nutshell.
Yes.
Giving a spoiled brat his way again. Just the headline sickens me. Long-awaited trade. Long-awaited, how long? 2 weeks, a month? I mean, you people are despicable when you talk about these players like they have the right to demand trades and whine when they don't get their way. I would sit this guy's ass on the end of the bench, and either you play James or you don't, but I don't really care. Jonathan Taylor just did this. You know what you did? You rewarded him with an extension.
Yeah.
Everybody gives in. and this guy's the worst.
Worst.
I mean, I used to think like Kyrie Irving was a whiner. This guy, or Westbrook, this guy's the worst.
Well,
the worst of my lifetime.
Westbrook and Harden are together again. We'll see how that works out. Here's Legs and what he said about the deal earlier today on ESPN Radio.
This is one of the most unstoppable offensive forces in the history of this league, and that's how he's going to be regarded. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be regarded as a winner or a leader, regardless of how this turns out with the Clippers. Because even if those guys do stay healthy and they make a run and they get all the way, to me, that's going to be because Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy.
Right.
And they already had enough to contend without James Harden. And that's the thing. Now, Harden and Westbrook being paired up again, and Westbrook actually looked pretty good at the start of the year, and his energy's been great. How does this affect Russell Westbrook going forward? And is this an insurance policy to give you that offense you're going to need on nights when you're not playing Kawhi Leonard or Paul George? And who knows, if you're left without either one of those guys in the postseason, this isn't going to have any significance at all for the Clippers in terms of how you view them against teams like Denver and the Lakers and Phoenix. I don't think they're on that level.
Russell's been running around like crazy. 7.3 rebounds a game, almost 7 assists a game. I guarantee there's going to be a fall off here.
Yes.
Because that guy, he's going to be looking across the locker room going, there's the guy that didn't want to play with me in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just ridiculous that I'm old enough to remember when I lived in L.A. that Chris Paul was not allowed to get traded to the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That Chris Paul could not play for the Clippers because of a couple of owners whining about that was going to hurt the integrity of the league. This does nothing to help the integrity trading James Harden other than appease James Harden.
Yep.
So, yes, the Sixers get players in return, good players that were helping the Clippers. The 76ers sent some good players to the Clippers and helped the Clippers get some good players. I don't see, other than one guy getting his way, stomping his feet and getting his way, that this proves anything other than that James Harden, whenever he wills something, it's going to come true.
It's not a matter of if it falls apart. It's a matter of when.
Yeah.
I love it. It's not my team, so I can't wait to see the demise.
I can't stand either team. I can't stand either team. But that's the problem. So when you throw in rules about load management or integrity or the fans deserve that, no, the fans deserve you to control these players. That you're the employer, you're a billionaire employer, and yet you're letting a guy that's 35 years old dictate what you do as a franchise? I would laugh at that guy. I absolutely laugh at that guy. So Jim Irsay laughed at Jonathan Taylor for a minute, and then he's like, you know what, we're not that good. We got to put him out there, and we got to give him what he wants. So, that's the one thing. If you're talented, this is the message it sends kids. If you cry loud enough, you'll get your way.
Yeah. We'll see how it turns out in the end. We do have to break down the Halloween festivities for the listeners out there. Dibs is in kinda Studio 49, kinda front door of the Dibble Retreat, as you are on candy duty at the front door this afternoon. Now, Nick, who had a great observation when he walked in and he learned that you were going to be passing out candy, he said, "What, are kids trick-or-treating in daylight now?" I'm like, yeah, that's how it goes.
Absolutely.
So
it's way safer during the day, especially for the little itty-bitty ones. The itty-bitties, when they come through, it's the best because they're scared to death to come to the front door.
Right, especially with you.
Yeah, it's not just me. But wait till you see the mask. I'm going to send you a picture that you can post that I'll wear for the older kids, not for the little ones because I don't want to scare the bejesus out of them, but I got my crazy clown head from last year that I'm going to wear.
All right, cool. So we are also dressed up in the studio. I am wearing the lovely Ken costume today. I'm all Kenned out.
Oh, that's what that is.
Kurt went as Lou Albano's illegitimate son today. It didn't really do much for his costume, but he looks like that regardless. Work. Yeah, Nick.
Do you have rubber bands in your beard?
Oh, he'll get some.
That'll throw you over the top.
I forgot about that little wrinkle in the costume. And then Nick is going as a recent college grad from Quinnipiac. He nailed it with his hooded sweatshirt and jeans today. Dude, I am the only person in the candy cane building. The building literally dresses up. But me and the 12 floors of employees. Me, this guy. I'm the only dude. I went up to the cafeteria to see our brothers to get a wrap. Only dude in line dressed up like Ken. And nobody up there like even pays me any attention. They think that this is how I look.
Yeah. Hey, brother.
Went to the sales meeting today. No one dressed up. Everyone's got something dressed up as a sales guy. Ha, 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 ha. Come on. It's Halloween. You got to get in the spirit.
I agree. Let's have some fun, children. Let's have some fun. All right, it's deadline day. Let's talk about the NFL. I'm still blown away by Chase Young getting traded.
I know. Wow.
Blows my mind. Also, Sweat. He's going to the Bears. I mean, two of your best guys from the Commanders are gone because they paid some other guys big extension money. We'll get into that when we come back on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell. Happy Halloween, everybody. Please be safe out there, little kids. We'll be right back.